So having created training and systems for over 300 restaurants and spending the last 10 years creating training and systems for different restaurant groups and corporations, one thing I learned is, where does training fall off? So training falls off in a couple of different places and training fails in a couple of different places. So first off is like just underdeveloped training in general, which is, I guess, what most restaurants suffer from. And underdeveloped training is just very unclear, unstructured, unintentional training, right? Where it's like, okay, you're starting, so I'm gonna have you do a 4-day training. You're gonna follow someone for 3 days, and then you're going to lead for 1 day. So you take the lead, and they're just gonna be your safety net. And then after that, off to the races, right? And that's it, right? So there's no like direction for the trainer at all. It's just kind of like follow me, and then I'm gonna kind of pick trainers randomly. Oh, you've been here the longest, you train. You've been here, you're the best server, you train. You're the best at upselling, you train. Stuff like that, right? So that's underdeveloped training, and it yields just terrible results, right? Basically, what you're doing is you're maximizing trial and error for your trainee. So they're gonna get on the floor, and they're going to be underdeveloped because they haven't been given enough information, enough clarity. So they're going to have to guess a lot of the stuff, and so they're going to have to go through this trial and error phase. And when they do that, that means they're burning a lot of guests, right? Because they don't know what they're doing, they don't have the right answers, they might give the wrong information, they might be slow, they might miss steps, they might be inconsistent, they might have the wrong messaging, they might have the wrong mindset, whatever it is, right? And so they have all this like trial and error they have to get down to before they get to become a good server in your eyes. And then even then, they might not ever reach that mark. That's one of the biggest problems I see. Another problem I see is overdeveloped training. And so overdeveloped training is when we have all this training information, and all this training, and all these docs, and all these things, right? But the problem with it is it's too complex. And so what happens is the staff ends up not delivering it, right? Like your leadership team doesn't enforce it, your trainers don't follow it, and your trainees suffer the most. And then that comes to a point where you're like, well, how do I monitor it? How do I manage it? How do I make sure it gets done? And when you're feeling that in your business, where you're like, how do I make sure all this stuff is getting done? And I have to keep micromanaging it. Basically, when it leads to you having to micromanage, that means that it's too complex. It's too complex, and so people are just like, the workload's too heavy, and they don't have enough clarity on how to execute it. They don't have enough tools or support to execute it, and so then they're just like, as soon as the owner's not here, right, or the GM's not here, we're just gonna like let this go, and then if they come back, we'll just, oh yeah, we'll fix that, sorry about that, right? But as soon as they take their eye off the prize, as soon as they take their focus off of this, then I'm just gonna like stop doing it, because it's so much, the workload is just, it's mentally straining just to think about it, and to execute it's even worse. So the moment I get a chance to not do this, I'm not gonna do it, which means I don't believe in it, and you haven't made it simple enough for them. So that's where you have to find the middle ground of training, which is the most successful type of training, where it's intentional, it's mapped out, it's clear, has a lot of clarity, the most clarity you can possibly give, but most importantly, it's simple. That's the biggest piece. Is it simple? It's simple to execute, it's simple to train, it's simple to learn, and it's simple to obtain, right? How do we make that simple? And that's a fine balancing act that you have to find when you're developing or training for your restaurant. Because remember, your training is literally the lever to your profits, to your revenue. Because the better your training is, the better your staff's gonna perform, the better chance you have of the guests coming back, spending more money, leaving reviews, bringing people in by good word of mouth, et cetera, et cetera. That becomes a compounding effect, where that's where your business really builds and gets momentum, and that's where you see a restaurant go to $1 billion company eventually, right? Is that they had that in it, that compounding effect in it at one point in time. In any $1 billion business right now that's a food and beverage business, you can always trace it back to a moment where they're really, really focused on it, and that's what blew them up. And it gave them so much goodwill that they even still keep growing, even though all that stuff kind of died down with the growth process or got diluted. And so that's what you want to focus on as when you're developing your training and your systems. It's like, how do we make it simplistic yet highly effective? And IKEA is a really good example, because IKEA is basically saying, we have this giant thing, right, that you're going to build, this huge thing that you're going to build out for your place, and it comes in this box. And so a normal person would say, I'm looking at this giant thing, and you're giving me this box like this. I don't believe that I can build that thing with this box. And what IKEA is telling you is, well, actually, we've paid a lot of money to develop training to show you how to do that through this instruction booklet, and that's what builds trust. So you say, there's this giant thing, and it comes in this box. I believe I can build it because IKEA has built the goodwill of the masses, saying that we will give you instructions so you who's never built anything, who's not good at building things, who's not good with tools, you will be able to do it. That's the power of simplistic but yet high level training, where IKEA is saying, well, you can build this giant thing with this little thing because of our training and our instruction. Our instruction and our guidance is going to get you there. And so they spend a lot of money. They spend a lot of money every time they develop something, right? We're going to have this wall unit, and now we have to spend a bunch of money making sure that it's buildable in a simple way. So we have to structure it and pay someone a lot of money to make it feasible, engineer it to make sure that it's buildable in an easy way. Then we have to create instructions that are so simple when someone looks at it, they can go, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that. If you look at IKEA instructions, there's very, very little text, and there's a lot of pictures. And I'm not saying you're using pictures, I'm just saying that's how they work, right? Because people could say, oh, I can see that picture and know what to do. I can see that picture and know what to do, because they're just saying, we're gonna give you so much clarity, and we're gonna make it so simple that anybody can do it. That's how you wanna create your training. How do we create simplicity in it? And then how do we make it, take a complex thing and make it simple to teach and simple to learn? I'm telling you right now, if you do that piece alone, your results will go through the roof, because everyone will be willing to train it, everyone will be able to learn it and execute it, and then you have your leadership team that has that same type of training. We're gonna show you how to manage it. We're gonna show you how to monitor it in a very simplistic and easy way. All of a sudden, all bets are off, right? We are cooking with gas because everybody's bought into it, everyone's willing to do it, everyone's capable of doing it, and the results will be there.